evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another wonderful episode of The Discussion Den, a show that brings you to the latest and greatest around the globe. I am your host Parvin, and we have an exciting episode lined up for you tonight. In today's episode, we are diving deep into the world of language, especially focusing on the context of English language use. Whether you are a seasoned pro or just starting out, we've got something for everyone. But before we get started, let me introduce to our fantastic guest for tonight. First up, we have Ms. Livisha SEGAR, a senior lecturer in the English Language and Communication Department of Cambridge University, Penang. Welcome, Ms. Livisha.
Good evening, Mr. Parvin. Thank you for having me in this wonderful show.
You're welcome. And following that, we have Ms. Tan Nyen Han of the Chief Translator and Interpreter from International Bridge Translation.
Good evening and thanks for inviting me.
Yes, it is so great to have both of you in our show. Now, let's jump right into our topic of the day. As we all know, language is a complex and fundamental aspect of human communication and cognition. It is a system of communication that allows individuals to convey thoughts, ideas, emotions, and information to others through the use of symbols, sounds, and gestures. Language is a dynamic and versatile tool that serves as a bridge between individuals, enabling them to share their experiences and understand each other, which underpins human communication and culture. It is an essential part of our daily lives, enabling us to connect with others, share ideas, and navigate the world around us. The study of linguistics explore its structures, evaluation, and cultural significance, shedding light on the remarkable complexity of this fundamental aspect of human existence. When we take a deeper look into language, it can be divided into two, which are linguistic and social linguistic. So, Ms. Livisha, can you tell us what are your point of view on linguistics?
Thank you, Mr. Parvin. Well, linguistics is the scientific study of language. It encompasses the analysis and understanding of various aspects of language, including its structure, meaning, usage, and evolution. Linguists, the researchers who study linguistics, investigate how languages are structured, how they function in communication, and how they change over time. There are some key aspects of linguistics. Firstly, phonetics. This branch of linguistics focuses on the physical properties of speech sound, such as their articulation and acoustic characteristics. Secondly, phonology. Phonology deals with the study of sound patterns within a particular language or languages. Next, morphology is the study of the internal structure of words. Then, syntax, which is concerned with the structure of sentence and how words are combined to express meaningful expressions. Apart from that, semantics is the study of meaning in language. Besides that, pragmatics. Pragmatics focuses on how language is used in a real-world communication. Lastly, applied linguistics. Applied linguistics involves the practical application of linguistic theories to real-world problems such as language teaching, translation, and language policy. Linguistics is a diverse field with many sub-disciplines, and it plays a crucial role in understanding how humans communicate, the structure of languages, and the cultural and cognitive aspects of language. Overall, linguists use various methods including fieldwork, data analysis, and experimentation to unravel the complexities of language.
Wow, those are some wonderful points on linguistics. Thank you, Ms. Livisha. Now, moving on to Ms. Yen Han. What are your thoughts on social linguistics?
Thank you, Mr. Parvin. In my point of view, social linguistics is all about studying how society affects the way we talk. It looks at things like where you're from, your job, and more. For example, where you grow up might affect the way you talk. Like people in the United Kingdom who living in different areas might sound different. For example, people living in Newcastle might sound different from those who live in Liverpool or London. And your job can also influence the way you talk. Imagine a computer expert and a chef. A computer expert might use words that are fancy, which only other computer folks can understand. For example, the word unicorn, which means a startup company that worth $1 billion, where the chef cannot understand what does it mean. Besides, social linguistics studies how people use language differently. Imagine you and your friends talk in unique ways. Some people have special words or accents because of where they are from. Others talk differently based on their age and the groups they belong to, like teens or adults. Imagine we are explaining to your grandparents that an email seems suspicious by using the word sus. The older generation might not be able to understand it, or you told them that your new smartphone was lit. They cannot understand it. This shows that new words and phrases come about, and older generation might not be able to understand the latest slang. Each person has their own way of talking, kind of like a personal language style. Sometimes people from different backgrounds use language in their own special way. This field is like a language detective work, where the scientist uses interviews and numbers to learn about how we talk.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Tan Yen Han, on those wonderful points. I guess these sharings would have given an overview on what is language, linguistic, and social linguistic to the viewers. Now, let's dig deeper into our topic today. Basically, when it comes to any language, the use of it differs according to the context on why are we using the language. The same goes with English. So, context in English language use refers to the circumstances, background information, or environment in which language is used to convey meaning. It plays a crucial role in understanding and interpreting language, as the meaning of the words and sentences can change based on the context in which they are used. There are various types of context in English language use. I believe that both of you have done your research in English language use on different contexts. So, Miss Livisha, let me start the question with you. What is one of the types of context in the use of English language?
Well, thank you for the wonderful question, Mr. Parvin. Situational context is a fundamental concept in linguistic, communication, psychology, and various types of fields. It refers to the specific circumstances, environmental conditions, and contextual factors that surround a particular event, interaction, or communication. Situational context serves as the backdrop against which actions and messages are understood and evaluated, profoundly influencing how we interpret and respond to them. This context is composed of multiple elements, for example, location, time, physical environment, participants, purpose, historical background, or emotions. The first cornerstone of situational context is location. The physical attributes of the location, such as its geographical coordinates, architectural design, and even its historical or cultural significance, contribute to the significant situational context. Next, the dimension of time encompasses factors such as the date, time of the day, and any temporal nuances associated with the situation. Time has a significant impact on our perception and interpretation of events. Apart from that, physical environment encompasses the immediate surroundings within which the situation occurs, including consideration like lighting, temperature, noise level, and the presence and absence of specific object or artifacts. These environmental factors engage our senses, influence our emotional states, and often govern our behavioral responses. Moreover, the individual involved and their attributes are pivotal components of situational context. The participants, including not only their identities, but also their roles, their relationships, and characteristics. The dynamics among participants in the situations are central to understand their nature. Each of these elements contributes to the richness and the complexity of the situational context, shaping our perception and meaning-making process within various situations and interactions. Understanding and considering situational context is essential for accurate interpretation, effective communication, and informed decision making in both everyday life and academic or professional contexts.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Livisha. That is wonderful points from your side. Miss Yen Han, would you like to share about another type of context in English language use?
Sure. The other type of context is cultural context. It is like a backdrop of a group of people. It is made up of their customs, traditions, values, beliefs, and how they usually act. These cultural backgrounds affect how they see the world, feel, and behave. We learn these cultural ways as we grow up, like how to talk and act around. It is interesting because culture is a big part of our life, but we often don't realize it is there. It is like an invisible cord that guides us even without us knowing. Different cultures have different ideas about how to behave and what things mean. We pick up these ideas as we grow up through our interactions with our culture. For example, think about how people from different cultures may see time differently. Some cultures value being on time, while some cultures are more relaxed about it. This can lead to misunderstandings if we don't understand these cultural differences. Overall, culture is a hidden but powerful influence on our lives. Understanding it is essential because, especially when we are talking to people from different cultures, it helps us make sense of their words and actions from their cultural perspective. So, even though culture stays hidden, it plays a big role in how we connect with others.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Yen Han, and I really agree on that point. And I would also like to add on some points to it. Well, if you guys see, the use of English language is influenced by cultural context, which can vary significantly across regions and communities. So here are some examples on how cultural context varies in the impact of English language use. So firstly, it is very prominent to see in vocabulary and spellings. So American and British English use different vocabularies, spellings and expressions. So for example, in American English we use the word elevator, but when it comes to British English we use the word lift. Or another example is the word truck, while in British English we use the word lorry to it. So that is very prominent. Secondly, we can also find out this example in the slang and colloquialism. So slang terms and colloquial expressions are often deeply rooted in a specific culture. So for example, in British English, bloke means a guy, while in American English we simply use the word guy. And when it comes to Australian English, we simply address someone as our mate. So that is my sharing and understanding on how cultural context affect the use of English languages. Okay, so let's move on. It is to my knowledge that interpersonal communication is also one of the contexts in English language use. So Miss Livisha, would you like to share your points on it?
Yes, sure, Mr. Parvin. Furthermore, interpersonal context refers to the dynamic and complex environment in which individuals engage in social interactions and communications with one another. It encompasses the various factors and elements that influence how people relate to and interact with each other. This context includes not only the physical setting, where interaction also occurs in terms of cultural, social, and emotional aspects that shape these interactions. Elements of the interpersonal context may include cultural norms and the cultural values, social roles and expectations that shape these interactions. Elements of the interpersonal context may include communication styles and emotional states. Understanding the interpersonal context is crucial for one, because of its effective communication and building meaningful relationships, and it helps individuals to navigate the subtitles of human interaction and adapt their communication with strategies accordingly, whether in personal relationships or the workplace or any social setting. Being attuned to the interpersonal context can lead one to be more successful and harmonious interactions in a society.
Wow, there are some wonderful points from your side, Miss Livisha. Thank you so much. Well, Miss Tan Yen Han, It seems like you would have also had some experience or thoughts on interpersonal context in English languages. Would you like to add some points to this topic?
Sure, Mr. Parvin. So, in addition to the provided definition, it is important to emphasize that interpersonal context is not static but ever evolving. People and their relationships are constantly changing, and these shifts are significantly impact communication dynamics. Furthermore, the digital realm, including social media and online communication, has become an integral part of the interpersonal context in today's interconnected world. The virtual space adds new layers of complexity, influencing individuals perceive and engage with one another. Acknowledging this dynamic aspect and the digital dimension is essential for a comprehensive understanding and interpersonal context in this contemporary society.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lian Han. That is also some wonderful points to the viewers. So, in conclusion, understanding the different types of context is essential for effective communication, and in English, it enables speakers and listeners to interpret language accurately and avoid misunderstanding. Context provides the necessary framework for making sense of the diverse and dynamic nature of the language. Seems that we have discussed the overview of language, linguistic and social linguistic, and have taken a look into the types of context. Now let's delve into the importance of context in English languages. So, Miss Livisha, shall we start with you?
Yes, with my pleasure, I would like to share the importance of situational context in English language. As a lecturer, based on my personal experience, recognizing and leveraging the importance of situational context is fundamental to create a dynamic and effective learning environment. First and foremost, understanding the situational context of my classroom or my lecture hall helps me tailor my teaching methods and content to meet the unique needs of the students. For example, knowing the educational background, prior knowledge and learning styles of your students can guide you in choosing appropriate teaching and learning materials. Moreover, situational context is essential for maintaining student engagement in my class. If you recognize that your afternoon class tends to be less energized, you can incorporate interactive activities or discussions to keep students actively involved in the class. Furthermore, situational context also influences assessment and evaluation methods. For example, I might adjust the format or timing of exam based on the context to minimize unnecessary stress or distraction for the students. In summary, as a lecturer, acknowledging the importance of situational context empowers me to become more effective educator, tailoring my teaching methods, maintaining student engagement, designing appropriate learning materials, and creating an inclusive learning environment for the students.
Thank you so much, Ms. Livisha. That is very agreeable, and I would also like to add my points to it. If you see, the situational context also guides the level of politeness and formality. Okay, for example, in a formal business meeting, you may use more formal language and titles, while in a casual conversation with friends, we tend to use informal language in a typically more appropriate way. And moreover, the situational context helps determine what is appropriate in a given setting. Different situations calls for different types of language, whether it's professional jargons in the workplace, casual conversation with friends, or formal language when addressing a large audience. Not only that, situational context helps you navigate cultural differences and sensitivities. What's acceptable in one context may not be in another culture. So, understanding the situation is crucial for respectful communication. So, let us move on to Ms. Tan Yan Han. So, what is your point of view on the importance of context in English languages?
So, as an interpreter, I've learned firsthand how crucial it is to have a deep understanding of different cultures before I interpreting the words of both parties. Let me share an experience of mine that highlights the importance of cultural context. Imagine I was interpreting for a business meeting between the Japanese company and an American company. The American team was very direct and straightforward in their conversation, while the Japan team was more reserved and relied on nonverbal cues. Without understanding this, the two groups might have misunderstood each other's intentions, potentially harming the business relationship. However, by recognizing the cultural differences and adjusting my interpretation accordingly, I was able to bridge the gap and facilitate a productive discussion. So, embracing cultural content is not just about avoiding awkward moments, it is also about celebrating the wonderful diversity of our world and building bridges of understanding that connect people from different places and backgrounds. It is not just a key, it is the cornerstone of effective communication and connections.
Thank you so much, Miss Tanya and Han, and also Miss Livisha. I think this indicates to the audience that it is really important for each speaker to understand the context completely in order to provide an effective communication. So that is the end of our discussion today. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to Miss Livisha for your wonderful time being on our show.
Thank you, Mr. Parvin. I'm so happy that I've been a part of this show and get to share my knowledge and experience on this topic. With my pleasure, I would like to attend the show more so that I could share my experience more.
You're welcome. And also, thank you so much, Miss Tanya and Han, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Parvin, and thanks to Ms. Michelle for making today's show a successful ending.
Okay, so with that, we are going to end our episode of The Discussion then. See you all in the next episode. Bye bye!